Hi, this is Blake Angelos from Yamaha, here with my good friends here at Kraft Music, and I'm here to show you the MODX M series music synthesizer from Yamaha. MODX M is built off of the DNA of our flagship Montage M. So all of the technology, things like AWM2, FMX, ANX engine, the ESP Expanded Softsynth Plugin, all of that you get with the mobile, lightweight MODX M series. If you're familiar with our previous products, the MODX and the MODX Plus, you can see at a glance what's changed here. One thing that jumps right out at me are these display knobs. The display knobs allow you to navigate and change things with a physical knob, and as you change different modes, these knobs update to what they do. So that's a very nice change to this instrument. Just allows you to get to stuff much quicker. Another thing you see here are 8 faders as opposed to 4 on the MODX and MODX Plus. This is great for editing things like operators of an FMX sound or elements of an AWM2 sound or oscillators of the ANX sound. It's also very cool because you have a DAW remote right here. You can connect this to a DAW and control levels in your tracks on your favorite DAW. You can start and stop the sequencer of your DAW with the transport control here. But this is nice to have this level of control in an instrument like this. Really cool. Also, if you look over here on the far left side, you'll notice some things that came over from the Montage M. One thing that I love so much is this little keyboard hold button right here. It's great for if I'm having a sound, here's a piano sound, and when I play a chord, as soon as I play the next chord, it changes, it cuts off the previous chord, so it holds the notes. It's great for playing pads behind people where you don't have to really play the sustain pedal, and it just has these crisp, nice chords that you can play. I love that they added that feature to the Montage M, and here it is on the MODX M as well. Another cool feature that we brought in with the Montage M that shows up in MODX M is this navigation button. This really makes editing and getting to things much faster because when I press that navigation button, it gives me an overview right in my screen of all of the components of this particular sound. Now this sound is an ANX sound. Now let's say I want to look at the filter of that sound. Well, all I have to do is look in here and say, hey, look, there's the filter. And there's a box right here. When I touch that, it takes me right to the filter cutoff. That's very cool. Or I hit navigation again. Let's say I want to look at the insertion effect. Insertion A maybe. There it is right here. I touch right here. It takes me right there. The navigation button greatly enhances the usability of this product and just makes it easier to use, easier to get to stuff that you want to do when you want to do some deeper editing. Another cool addition to MODX M that's an improvement over the previous model is the control knob area over here. So we've added more things that you can choose, and you just move down and up and down to select different stuff. So the top one here is cutoff frequency resonance of the filter, reverb and variation sends, filter envelope generator depth, and so on. But you notice that when I move on here, a pop-up window comes here. So when I'm in the cutoff frequency, immediately I can see, if I edit the filter, for example, that I turn the cutoff frequency and resonance, I have this cool pop-up window. Now this is cool because on the Montage M, there's actually a screen right here. So this was a nice way to bring this into an affordable product, but still have the control of the flagship model with this new redesign of the control knobs. Another cool thing is we have the page jump. This is something that I really love about Montage M. So these are quick controls is what we call this, for quick editing. And if I'm in here and I move down to say the amplitude envelope generator, AEG, and I see attack, decay, sustain, and release. But as soon as I want to go deeper and maybe do some more just deeper edits, I can hit the page jump button and it takes what's on the quick controls and brings it over into the main control window here for deeper, cooler editing. I have some additional stuff in here that I can get to now, but it's just that fast. It keeps you in the music, it keeps you flowing when you're editing. I really love that about this instrument. So all the cool features and the usability upgrades are one thing, but what about the sound? The sound is amazing because it is the Montage M engine, or at least it is the Montage M engine where it counts. There's definitely some things that you get when you move up to a Montage M. You get more polyphony, you get a metal case, you get different actions and so on. But where it counts, it's in this instrument. So first thing I want to show you are just some pianos, and I'll just take two of my favorite ones, the CFX. We have the original CFX, which is this piano right here. So that's the CFX. That's our original CFX that we released about 25 years ago. Well, in 2022, we released another product called the CFX2, which is an upgrade to this already amazing piano. Now it has a little bit more note bloom, but it still retains that strong, fundamental, ringing character of the CFX. Check it out. So here's the CFX2. So a little darker quality piano, a little bit more note bloom. And again, I'm playing this from a 61 note keyboard that weighs 15 pounds. It's incredible getting these sounds from something so perfectly compact, and it feels great. Why does it feel great? Well, it feels great because this is a new action. This is another upgrade from the original MODX. This is called FSB, is what we call this action. It's shown up on a few other products, but we brought it into our synth line, in our midline synth, and it just feels more, I guess it's more expressive. It feels more solid under your fingers. It's a better playing experience. So I can totally play a piano all day long with the 61 and then the 76 note action. They both have that action. Then for 88 notes, well, you get the graded hammer action. So if you really need the weighted action, you can get it in a weighted 88 note model as well. And that weighs, I think, 31 pounds. So again, a mobile Montage M. That's what MODX M is. Now, as I said, you get the Montage M sound set in this instrument. And by the way, if you already own a Montage M and you're looking for maybe something a little more mobile, a little bit lighter to take on a gig, well, you can load your sounds directly into the MODX M. It's great. They share files. So cool. Speaking of the same sounds, I absolutely love this orchestral performance. That's what all the sounds are called, performances. That's what this is called, this ostinato stock MW, so modulation wheel and super knob. When I play this first chord, you'll notice it's just a boom, one, that's it, you know? So very marcato style, staccato playing of my symphony orchestra. Now when I move to the second scene here, scenes are just different versions of the same sound, but maybe they add some effects, maybe they add some arpeggio, maybe they add what's called a motion sequence. I'll show you that in a minute too. But check this out. So now it's two hits, right? what does scene 3 do? How about 3? Oh, cool. That's so cool. How about 4? Well, 4, 4. Of course, it's a Yamaha, so it's going to be super expressive. You notice that when I play soft, and I play louder, more velocity. But check this out. Now, not only do I have the, oh, now I have these octave sweeps. So cool. How about scene 6? That's just ridiculous. You want to know what's in 8. Let's hear what's in scene 8. One thing I absolutely love about Yamaha synthesizers are the guitar sounds. And for keyboard players, to me, the guitar it's nice for writing music. It's nice for just getting an idea of what it might sound like with a guitar, but to me, it also really affects how I play piano. And here's why. If I play a G chord, and I'm going to play it on this guitar sound, most piano players play very tight voicings, like right in the middle, and it doesn't really sound right on a guitar because guitars have a wider voicing, really. So when I play that G chord like this, that's more like how the guitar would be voiced, right? Now, I wouldn't necessarily play this figure right here, this little 6th thing here, in the middle of my playing, had I not really started playing more guitar sounds and experimenting with different ways, and then bringing that over to the piano. So these type of things really inform my playing, which I really love. Now I'm going to turn the super knob. What is the super knob? I've explained it, I think, on other videos, but one more time. The super knob is a macro control that controls these assignable knobs, which can also have multiple assignments. And per part, so that's what we're looking at here, these are parts. You can have up to 8 parts that you can play simultaneously, so you can split, layer, whatever, in this 8-part area in a performance. Now, I do have 16 parts in a performance. Those other parts can be used for backing tracks, and I'll play some stuff later that use other parts for that. But my point here is, each of those parts has up to 32 controlled destination points. So you can assign those to a single control, which is the super knob, which is controlling these knobs right here, which are assignable knobs. So here, in a brief way to look at how this works is, let's say you want to increase the reverb of a sound, but at the same time, you want to cut the cutoff frequency of the filter. So you want to go 2 different motions that go in opposite directions. You can assign those 2 motions to a single knob right here. So you can do simultaneous things that you wouldn't be able to really effectively do with 2 hands because they're going 2 different ways. Or 32 destination points, that's like having 32 hands moving things simultaneously. So you can do a lot of control of everything, of the sounds of the synth engine, of the effects, of the different effects parameters per effect with a single super knob. So in this case, on this guitar sound, it adds a lot of effect. And then I have these assignable buttons that change what's happening with the guitar, and those are harmonics on the guitar. So the super knob is very cool. as a macro controller is doing simultaneous things with a single control and multiple ways of moving it and stuff, but it is a knob, so you have to turn it with your hand, right? Well, no, you don't have to turn it with your hand. One thing that's great about Kraft Music is that they have bundles, and one of the bundles adds the FC7 expression pedal. And I have one plugged in right here. It's in Foot Controller 2 in the back. You have up to 4 pedals that you can add to this. A sustain pedal, a switch pedal, and then 2 expression pedals. So the other one could be just overall volume, but this right here controls the super knob. So even though, like I'm playing here with this guitar sound, as I move it up, you'll hear more effects coming in. Nice delay and reverb, but all done by controlling it with my foot. See? Very cool. A cool thing that we brought over from the Montage M is the VCM rotary speaker effect. Now we introduced that with our YC series, but that rotary speaker effect makes so much of a difference in organ sounds. Another thing with drawbar organs is you want to have control over the drawbars, right? So having 8 faders makes this a lot easier. I mean, check it out. I have, oh, and look in the screen right there. The drawbars, they made a little virtual drawbar thing. We brought this into the Montage M as a update, so you can see this cool graphic. But one thing that we don't have on a MODX M is the ribbon controller. So if you want a ribbon controller, you're gonna have to get the Montage M. However, our engineers gave us a virtual ribbon controller. It's right there. And in this case, I love this ribbon controller because this controls the speed of the rotary speaker. So right now I have it stopped. And I know it stopped, and this is a cool thing. I find this is a cool thing for lots of people. Like, let's say you're a church musician, you're playing organ, and the pastor wants to know if the rotary speaker is on or not. You can see right here that it's stopped right now. So, check this out. Now, when I move this virtual thing, watch what happens here. So now the pastor's looking, oh, I see, he's got a slow. Now if I go all the way up, it'll go to the fast. Look at that. Now right now I have just the kind of the harmonic hole is what I call this one. We have just drawbars 1 and 3 down, so I'll bring down the 5th one. Now I can also control rotary speaker speed with the mod wheel if I want, and I can assign it other places as well, but I love having the virtual ribbon control. So even though you don't get the actual ribbon controller, well, at least you have a ribbon controller in the touch screen. And a super high quality organ sound. So if you need to play some organ and you're not really ready to get a full-on organ type keyboard, but you still need to play some organ parts, MODX M will totally cover that. So there are amazing sound effect movie trailer type sounds in this instrument. Now, this comes from the Montage M, but this is one of the coolest things in this instrument among all the cool things are these 2 performances. One's called Trailer Toys and the other one's called More Trailer Toys. So if you go to a movie and you get those trailers and all those cool sounds that they use during those trailers, especially in action movies and so on, that's what these sounds are all about. So I have this sound here, you know, the strings. Big, huge kettle drums. Just, if you have a subwoofer and you're listening to this in your system at home, this is hitting it. So, if you look also in my screen here, you'll see that PTN is right here in the corner. That means that I've associated a pattern. So there's a sequence that I created to really show this. So check this out. Of course, I can play along with it. thing coming out of a keyboard. You would only expect to hear that coming out of a huge like computer system. Having it in front of me here on gigs, you pull this sound out, you're gonna have people looking at you. And what does more Trailer Toys sound like? It sounds like this. I almost want to go, in a world where one man finds his soul. There you go. That's some cool sounds. So this sound right here, Warm AN Smart Morph is what Smooth sounds. So Warm AN Smart Morph Pad. So what is Smart Morph? Smart Morph is actually a machine learning technology that we introduced originally on the original Montage for FMX. And basically what it is, in fact, I'll touch the Smart Morph button here. It takes different sounds in technology. Now, I should say this too, on Montage M, we added ANX and we added Smart Morph for ANX. And this sound is one of those sounds. This is using the ANX engine. So what it does is, as I said before, parts 1 through 8 are under keyboard control. That means I can play them simultaneously, splits, layers, and so on. But I also have parts 9 through 16. Generally, you might use those for backing tracks like drums and bass and guitars and so on. But with Smart Morph, what you do for those parts is you select different sounds from the instrument. So in this case, I have a pad sound, and when I directly select anything in parts 9 through 16, I can directly select that sound and play it. So that's what this sound is here. Or I go to the next sound here. Portamento's on here. Let me turn that off. So these are all sounds I can directly play. And I put them in parts 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I'll add one more sound to this and you'll see what I'm doing here. So, and then probably I want something that's maybe a little bit more percussive, so I'll do this ANX Xylo. So maybe a little mallet percussion kind of deal. And you'll also hear something else here. That little fliffy thing, well, that's a shimmer reverb. So shimmer reverb is in this instrument as well. So it was programmed with this sound, just if you were hearing that, that's what that is. So Smart Morph takes these sounds here, and when I hit this learn button, what it does is it runs this machine learning process and looks at all of those sounds, finds commonalities based on some criteria, and then creates a new sound and puts it in part 1. And then I can morph through the sound using, so right now it's assigned to the super knob. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my motion sequence. That's what's controlling this, because I can just go like this and morph through different sounds. So you can hear right there, you see where that chromatic mallet that I added? As I get closer to it, I get more of that sound in this grid, because you can see right here. So let's say, oh my gosh, I love this sound. Oh, I love this sound, hit store. And what it does is it stores that sound as a new sound. So I'll just go ahead and store it as Smart Morph, whatever, 1, okay? Now, if I want to redo it again, I hit learn again, it's going to use the same sounds, or I could change sounds or whatever, and it's going to create a different version, a different kind of Smart Morph of that. You see the graphic changes, and the graphic is just, it's just a cool thing to show this, but so let's say I get this one. Remember, that's sound one, that's just that first sound here. So if I like that sound, I hit store, boom. Or I can make it kind of this dynamic thing where I'm running this motion sequence that's controlling the super knob, as you can see here, and doing some cool morphy pad sounds. So really, what Smart Morph is, it's a creative way to create sounds, but it's great for people like me, honestly. I'm not a big sound programmer. I don't like to sit and take lots of time. I'd rather be playing music than programming sounds. So I do basic stuff, but this is a way, if I want to create some different sounds and find something that's truly unique to my music, Smart Morph is a really cool way to get to those sounds without having to get real deep into programming. It just is a very cool, interesting technology that you get with MODX M. So speaking of motion sequence, what is a motion sequence? Well, in the example I showed with the Smart Morph, you can set a motion sequence to control the super knob. But you can also have motion sequences per part. And in this case, I'll show you another ANX sound. This is an AN synth brass sound. Right? I'll select the part first, and I'll go to navigation, since I have that button there, and I'm looking at this. And so where is in this grid here, without me having to drop into some edit menu and look at a list of things, where, oh, there's motion sequence right there. So I touch that and it takes me directly to the page that I want to show you. Again, usability has been definitely upgraded with this product from the previous model. So I'm going to go and hit this edit sequence, and right now there's a button right here that turns on and off a motion sequence. And let me go back one level, because you see I have 4 different lanes. That's what we call this, and each lane can have a different motion sequence, so you can have up to 4 of these motion sequences happening at the same time. But we're going to just focus in on one to get you close to the concept. So I'm going to press edit sequence, and I'm going to turn on motion sequence, and you hear what this is. So I've assigned this, and I'll show you where I assign this as well, to a filter cutoff. And now when I play the chord, it's sweeping the filter with this control sequence. And then what these are pulses. They're kind of how the motion moves. So right now I have one that's called M. They're all kind of different ones, but the one I kind of like to use, steps, is a cool one to use, where it creates a little motion sequence that if I change some of these parameters in here. Notice another thing here is the display knobs make this easier too, because before I would have to maybe use the data wheel, but you'll see these display knobs, they change as I get into different screens. So this is the parameter right here for the different steps, and you see that changes to shorter steps in here as I move this pulse A parameter 1, but I can do that with a knob, or I can make it more granular if I want to. So I chose the steps one here, and there's a parameter too. Now before, on the original MODX, I didn't have these knobs, so I can see parameter 1 knob is here, so I can adjust this, and it changes the resolution of the steps. So now they're wider steps, which is cool. But if I change parameter 1 again, see how they get a little bit more granular until they're just basically a triangle. Now, not only do you have that pulse, you also have pulse B right here, and I can touch here, and I can grab another one. Let's say I want to do, I'll just pick one at random. How about M? What does M do? M is kind of this kind of, now that's the B pulse. How do I change these? These are right now A pulses. Well, when I touch 1 through 8, this is a 16-step motion sequence I have here. These faders and these buttons control the levels of those, and you'll see them changing here, right? And how much of that effect is in here, and I can hear it in real time. But if I touch the buttons here, it changes to that different pulse, the M pulse. If I go to the next one here, maybe I'll go back to the other one and switch these off and have them more this way at the beginning. So that's what a motion sequence is. But what's cool about this too is that if I go back to my top of my performance, when I hit that performance home button, and I feel like that's pretty cool. I wish I could have a drum beat. you can hold shift, rhythm pattern. See that shift button? Shift, rhythm pattern. It brings up the drum kits in here, and I can file through different drum kits and say I want to try this trap kit with it. It's set up to play now with a drum kit just like this. And it's playing back in tempo because the motion sequence, again, I set that up to sync to tempo. Want to look at the motion sequence again? Navigation, motion sequence right there. Super easy with this instrument. So let's talk a little bit about computer integration. MODX M is a 10-out, 2 stereo channel return USB audio and MIDI 2.0 interface. MODX M, like Montage M, is MIDI 2.0 compatible. So the future is already here with this product. We're one of the first manufacturers to release something like this. So that's very cool. Now I have all of that connected with a single USB cable. I'm going out of the USB 2 host port into my USB-C on this MacBook, and I'm connected. And just with these two, the hardware and the software, I can record up to 10 channels of audio into the DAW. That means I could take something like a drum kit, a bass part, a guitar part, and send individual audio stereo stems to my DAW that I can then process independently away from the stereo output. That's very cool. You also have a DAW remote control surface, so I can start and stop the sequencer using the DAW remote right there as well. But wait, there's more. The other thing you get is ESP, the Expanded Softsynth Plugin. So what is ESP? ESP is the Montage M synth engine in the computer as a VST3 or audio unit instrument. So right now we're running Cubase, so this is VST3. And I want to show this real quick. So right now I don't have the ESP on right now, but I want to prove to you something here. I have that sound that I played earlier. I have local control on here, so I see that in DAW remote. And that sound that I played earlier, this ostinato staccato, the one that has all those cool articulations. All those cool sounds, right? We got all those. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on ESP, same sound, says it right there, ostinato staccato, same exact name. I'm going to go to DAW remote, I'm going to turn off local control. So now what you're going to hear is me playing ESP. That's all ESP. If I change the scene to that one, now you notice when I changed scenes, it changed it here too. So you have that one-to-one control of the MODX M with the MODX M ESP plugin. So I switch to that scene and you'll hear that. That's ESP. It's the same sound. That's so cool. Now, if I turned on the local control, I can now, that's layered. But what if I were in here inside my instrument and I decided, well, what would be really kind of cool is if I went back to my CFX sound and I still have this sound here and I layered those two. So you can hear my piano in there too, but I'm still playing that huge ESP MODX M sound directly to the computer. It's so cool. Now, another thing that's cool about this instrument is, let's say I'm in here and I do some edits, like I change the reverb here. Now I'm doing this within the ESP. So if I go and I select something in here, like routing of effects or anything, and I make changes, let's say I made a whole bunch of changes. If I touch this icon right here, you have data transfer. So you can transmit what I did here, which I'll do right now, you'll see this screen changes for a second. It says now transmitting. I'm sending the edited sound from ESP to my instrument here, and here it is now. That's the edited sound. Or let's say I want to go over here to my live set, and I go to my user bank, and I have this CFX2 dark B is what I call this sound here. This is my B is Blake, so this is my edit of that sound, and I want to bring that sound that I was working on in my room last night into my ESP situation here. So as soon as I touch that, now I have receive from MODX M6. Yes, sir. Now it's sending that sound from the MODX M to ESP. So I have to fly home tonight, and I have to be on a plane. I really would love access to that sound with my little controller that I can use on the plane and play. Yeah, you can do all that. You have access to all of your MODX M sounds with ESP. How cool is that? How about this too? This has a total of 268 notes of polyphony. So if I wanted to double or triple or quadruple that number, just open up multiple instrument tracks. You have that power now. It's really, really a cool system that we have here with ESP. It's kind of unprecedented, actually. And how much is that going to cost you? Nothing, because you bought this MODX M here. You get that for free. There's a download code in the box with every MODX. You just have to follow the directions. Go to YamahaSynth.com if you want to see anything as far as directions on how to set this up. I have stuff up there. You can easily install this in your DAW and have access and enhancement of your hardware with this cool plugin. That's ESP. So ESP will be available for you for free in early 2026. So there you have it. Great sound, sophisticated dynamic control, and powerful, easy to use workflow. That's the MODX M. Thank you so much for watching. This is Blake Angelos from Yamaha here at Kraft Music. Have a good one.